This is a video exclusively for my friend Hayden, who said that he didn't understand soft knee compression and that he didn't want to. Here is a basic piece of like a signal graph. It's currently like no compression. Sound level in is this way, and then out is going to be this way. So right now we have 1-to-1 up until that point, and that point is where the compressor is going to be kicking in. But the signal is 1 decibel in, 1 decibel out. After that threshold point, we're going to be applying compression at a ratio. For example, 2-to-1, 4-to-1, 10-to-1, infinity to 1. But that means that for every 2 decibels in, we get 1 decibel out. So it doesn't continue at the same rate. It's quieter past a certain point, and that's the point. That's one compressor. That's a very basic, very simple, straightforward compressor. Now, a soft knee is, let's say we're picking a more extreme example. Let's do like infinity to 1. Compressing it pretty hard after that threshold. The signal before is still just the same, but we're not getting anything louder than that. This could be 2-to-1 that we're starting with, but this is going to be the easiest to illustrate. So that's sort of like our first compressor that we put down. But we don't want that harsh threshold that's right there. It sort of cuts off very suddenly. We want something a little softer, thus a soft knee. We would add a second compressor. Second compressor would kick in at a lower threshold at a lower ratio. We're not getting any of that harshness. We now sort of have two knees that are less harsh than they were. We're not quite done yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another compressor before this purple compressor. And that's going to be at an even lower threshold with an even shallower ratio. It's doing less compression earlier. And then we're going to add another compressor that's after the purple. That's sort of a midpoint between its ratio and threshold and the red ratio and threshold. And so once again, we've gotten rid of one of these sharp knees and replaced it with two smaller ones. If you zoom out, you can kind of start to see harsh knee that was there in the first place is sort of entirely being bypassed by all of these smaller knees. And granted, this would be like if you literally stacked 3 or 4 compressors. But if you were to keep going, you would eventually reach sort of a perfect curve. And in that sense, it would be constantly adjusting the knee, and it would be constantly adjusting how much compression and when that kicks in. So by the end of it, a very smooth slope. And again, this does mean that you are compressing earlier. Sounds a certain way that you aren't inherently going to want, but it isn't going to have that sharp knee, which also sounds a certain way, which sometimes you don't want.